Eagles fans, brace yourselves. The road back to the Super Bowl might be rougher than anyone expected. It's not just hype anymore. The warning signs are real. The schedule is brutal. The pressure is massive. And suddenly, there's a storm cloud forming over Philly. Can this team fight through the chaos and silence the doubters once again? Or is trouble quietly knocking at the door? Did Eagles fans just get hit with some early warning signs before the 2025 season has even started? Let's break it all down. And trust me, this one matters. The Eagles are coming into this year as defending Super Bowl champions. They crushed the Chiefs in New Orleans, walked out of that stadium not just as winners but as dominators. It was one of the most one-sided Super Bowl beatdowns in NFL history. And that was against a dynasty, a team chasing its third straight Lombardi. The message was loud. Philadelphia runs the league. But now, the target is on their backs, and the path forward is not easy. Let's talk about the expectations. Vegas odds makers are setting the Eagles' win total at 11.5 games. That's elite territory. Only a few teams sit at that level. The Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and the Eagles. These are the big boys, Super Bowl level squads. Every one of them is expected to dominate. But 11.5 wins? That's no joke. It's basically saying, hey, you better be a 12-win team, or you've underperformed. And here's the thing, that number might be too high. Yes, the roster is still stacked. Yes, Jalen Hurts is still leading the charge. And yes, Howie Roseman continues to work his magic. But let's not ignore what's happened behind the scenes. Philadelphia has lost some key pieces, including their offensive coordinator Kellen Moore and multiple members of their front office. That may not sound like a big deal on the surface, but those are the kinds of cracks that can grow over time. And with a schedule as brutal as the one the Eagles are about to face, every little crack matters. The 2025 slate is absolutely loaded. Tough teams, long road trips, national games, big stages. There are no easy wins on this schedule. The Eagles are going to have to earn everything. And even with all the talent, even with all the swagger, this season will test them like never before. So here's the real question, Eagles Nation. Will Philly go over or under 11.5 wins? Will they rise again and prove they're still the best in the league? Or will the weight of being champions drag them down? Drop your take in the comments below. Type O for over or U for under and tell us why. This isn't just a prediction. This is about faith, passion, belief. How much do you believe in the Birds this year? Let's be real. This season isn't going to be easy. But if the Eagles can stay healthy, they can absolutely handle it. This team isn't just built to survive a tough schedule. They're built to dominate through one. And maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something legendary. Because here's the truth, the core of this team is still intact. The big stars, still under contract. The roster, still one of the youngest and most explosive in the NFL. The foundation is strong. The leadership is elite. Head coach Nick Sirianni is already a top 5 mind in football. Howie Roseman, the man is playing chess while other GMs are still learning checkers. He's been on an absolute heater, crushing draft picks, making bold moves in free agency, and building a monster of a roster year after year. Even if there are a few misses here and there, when you hit like the Eagles hit, you win, and you keep winning. But even with all that power, the 2025 season brings some serious challenges. Let's break it down. For starters, no back-to-back home games. That's right, the Eagles don't get to settle in at the Link for 2 straight weeks, even once. It's home, away, non-stop bouncing across the country. That makes rest, rhythm, and recovery a serious problem. Now we all get it. When you win the Super Bowl, you're going to get a tougher schedule. That's part of the deal. But come on, give the champs a break. And it's not just about comfort. This is statistically one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. In fact, the Eagles have the 4th most difficult schedule in the league this year, and the biggest jump in difficulty from last year to now. Just let this sink in. 11 of 17 games are against teams that made the playoffs last season. 6 road games are against playoff teams. 6 primetime matchups, and that includes a high-stakes Saturday night battle against Washington. Only 5 games come with a rest advantage, meaning the team will be playing with fresher legs than their opponent. That's a gauntlet. But hey, the Eagles are used to the spotlight. This team is marketable, global, and built for big moments. And this schedule, it's filled with big moments from the very first snap. Let's take a look at the early weeks of this heavyweight season. Week 1, Thursday Night Football, home versus Cowboys, season opener, prime time, the lights are on. And who's walking into town? The Dallas Cowboys. And here's the twist, the Super Bowl banner goes up that night. That's right, the Eagles are going to raise that Lombardi trophy in front of their biggest rival, and Dallas has to sit there and watch it happen. It doesn't get more dramatic than that. Week 2, Super Bowl rematch at Kansas City, back-to-back heat. Week 2 takes Philly to Arrowhead Stadium for a Super Bowl 59 rematch against the Chiefs, the team they crushed, the team that wanted revenge. This game will be personal. Expect fire, expect fury, expect an all-out war. Week 3, home versus Rams. The Eagles come back home to take on a rising Rams squad, one that's looking to prove they're back in the NFC conversation. But this Philly team, they'll be ready to remind everyone who runs the conference. Week 4 at Tampa Bay, then it's down south for a test against the Buccaneers. Heat, humidity, and a team that always plays hard at home. No room for error. This is just the beginning. The Eagles are stepping into a season where every week feels like a playoff game. But that's what dynasties are made of. You don't just win once, you keep coming back stronger. What do you think, Eagles fans? Will this team rise above the hardest schedule in football? Can they go back-to-back and build a real dynasty? Tell us in the comments, how many wins do you see this team getting in 2025? Drop your prediction and defend it with Philly pride. The road ahead is brutal, and it starts with a reminder. The Eagles have some serious unfinished business with teams that have been thorns in their side for years. Let's break it down week by week. And trust me, this stretch is not for the faint of heart. Week 5, home vs. Broncos. Sean Payton and Bo Nix come to Philly. Sean Payton's squad rolls into town, bringing rookie quarterback Bo Nix to the link. He might be young, but he's smart. And with Payton calling plays, this offense could get dangerous fast. Philly better come in locked and loaded. Week 6, Thursday night road trip at Giants short week, cold air, loud crowd. The Eagles travel up a 95 to take on the Giants in the Meadowlands. Thursday night football always tests a team's toughness. This one will be a slugfest. Week 7, at Vikings US Bank Stadium, one of the loudest, wildest stadiums in the league. The Vikings are always tough at home. And by week 7, we'll know who's for real in the NFC. This game could be a turning point. Week 8, home versus Giants again. Yep, just 2 weeks after facing them on the road, the Eagles see the Giants again. And nothing is ever easy in NFC East battles. These games are always physical, emotional, and personal. Let's stop and catch our breath. The first 5 games after Week 4 are absolutely brutal. But then comes the break. Week 9, bye week smack in the middle of the season. Perfect timing. A much-needed reset for a team that's been battling non-stop. Rest the legs, refocus the mind, then hit the gas again. Week 10, Monday Night Football. At Packers, right out of the bye, the Eagles travel to Green Bay. Lambeau Field. Cold, loud, dangerous. The Packers are young, fast, and talented. This won't be easy. Week 11, Sunday night, home versus Lions. The lights are on again. The Lions are rising. They're hungry and physical. This could be an early playoff preview. Week 12, at Cowboys. No introductions needed here. It's Dallas week, on the road, in enemy territory. You can bet Jerry Jones will be watching this one like a hawk. The NFC East crown could be on the line. Week 13, Black Friday versus Bears on national TV. The Eagles host the Bears, a young team on the rise. They've made huge moves in the offseason. Don't sleep on them. They're not the same team you remember. Week 14, Monday night at Chargers. It's on the West Coast, but it might feel like a home game. Eagles fans take over SoFi Stadium every time. Prime time, Monday night. This could be a statement game. Week 15, home versus Raiders back in Philly. Cold weather, big bodies. The Raiders are trying to prove they belong, but the Eagles are aiming to make this game a reminder of who's boss in the NFL. Week 16 to 18, Commanders, Bills, Commanders again. The end of the season is flat-out savage. A gritty Commanders team on a Saturday showdown. A frigid late-season game on the road against Buffalo. Then wrapping up the season against Washington again. 2 times in 3 weeks. That's war, and there are no soft landings here. Now, after seeing that grueling schedule, what do the experts think? Pro Football, Focus, under 11.5 wins. Yup, PFF is betting against the Eagles. They're saying Philly's not going over 11.5 wins this year. But let's take a look at what they're really saying. Glass half full, it all starts with Saquon. They believe the Eagles' offense starts with the run game, and that means Saquon Barkley behind the most dominant offensive line in football, led by Jordan Mailata, who had a 95.2 PFF grade. They say this offensive line opened the biggest running lanes in the NFL, with an average of 2.2 yards before contact. That's insane. This is a team that can pound the rock and lean on defense, and win tough games that way. But here's the problem. They're worried Saquon is getting older. He led the NFL in touches last year, and he turns 29 in February. For running backs, that can be a red flag. The position is brutal, and sometimes age hits fast. Plus, with Kevin Patullo stepping in as offensive coordinator, replacing Kellen Moore, some wonder if the offense will keep its identity. But let's be honest, this team is not one-dimensional. When they needed to pass, they passed, and they passed deep. Remember when A.J. Brown called out the passing game? The very next week, Jalen Hurts lit up Pittsburgh. The deep ball was back. The confidence was real. And let's not forget, Hurts was Super Bowl MVP. He showed everyone who said he couldn't throw that they were dead wrong. He balled out under pressure and silenced every critic. So with all due respect to PFF, the Eagles are more than just Saquon. They're more than just a run-heavy team. This is a complete offense. This is a team with firepower, creativity, and guts. Call to action, Eagles Nation. Do you believe? Is PFF right to take the under? Or are they seriously underestimating Jalen Hurts and this team? All right, Eagles Nation, let's be real. This season is a beast. The path back to the playoffs? It's not paved with green grass and confetti anymore. It's a grind. It's a gauntlet. From easy street to hard knocks last year, the Eagles had it kinda good. Their 2024 schedule ranked 10th easiest in the league. Only 6 of those teams made the playoffs. This year, 4th hardest schedule in the entire NFL. And guess what? They're staring down 10 playoff opponents from last season. That includes road trips to some of the toughest places in football. Arrowhead Stadium, Chiefs, Raymond James, Bucks, US Bank Stadium, Vikings, Highmark Stadium, Bills. Yeah, that's war. And by the way, quick correction. Some say 10 games versus playoff teams, but the Eagles actually play 11 games against them because they face Washington twice. 2 words, producer Chip, dubs secured. Here's the reality. Repeating success in this league is never easy. You don't just wake up and become a dynasty. You fight for every inch. And for the 2025 Eagles, the hill is steep. Defense, a lot to replace. Let's talk defense. Philly lost over 4,000 defensive snaps this offseason. That's not just players. That's identity. They lost starters. They lost depth. And now Vic Fangio is tasked with stitching together a new unit on the fly. It's not just scheme now. It's leadership, chemistry, and grit. Offense, a new man at the controls on the other side of the ball. Kevin Patullo replaces Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator. Last season, Kellen got creative. He evolved. He adjusted to the team's strengths. Before that, the offense was predictable. Stale. It was A.J. Brown saying it out loud. It was fans screaming at their TVs. And it showed. Now it's on Patullo to keep this unit in the top tier. This team finished top 10 in offense and first in rushing. That can't drop off. Health, the X factor. Here's the thing people overlook. Health. Since Nick Sirianni arrived in 2021, the Eagles have been top 5 in team health. That's not luck. That's elite conditioning, top medical staff, smart coaching. In fact, last season, 21 of the 22 starters from Week 1 played in the Super Bowl. That's unheard of. So much so that at the Super Bowl parade, the Eagles medical team proudly held up a sign. 21 of 22 starters made it. Even Nakobe Dean, the one starter who missed, was only out due to a late-season tendon injury. If that health trend continues, this team can absolutely survive this brutal schedule. But if Saquon goes down, here's the scary part. If Saquon Barkley gets hurt, and let's be honest, he's had some wear and tear, that changes everything. He's a focal point, a tone setter. He's not just running the ball, he's the heartbeat of this new-look offense. But the foundation is strong, that said. There's depth in the trenches. This offensive line is deep, talented, and coached by the best in the game. Jeff Stoutland, if injuries come, and they probably will, this team can survive. They're battle-tested, they're coached up, and they don't flinch. What's next? There are questions at edge rusher. They didn't pull the trigger on a trade for Myles Garrett yet. But here's the bottom line. The road is hard. The target is on their back. But the Eagles, they're ready for war. Sound off, Eagles fans. Are you worried about the schedule? Or do you think this team is built for adversity? Let me know in the comments. Biggest concern on defense. Is Kevin Patullo ready to lead this offense? And can Saquon Barkley stay healthy? Let's land this thing, Eagles fans. We've talked the schedule, we've talked the roster, but now it's time to talk about what really matters. The future, the cost of greatness. Why haven't the Eagles traded for a big-name pass rusher? Why not pull the trigger on Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt, or another elite edge? Simple, it's about value and vision. This front office wants cost-controlled assets at premium positions. Young players on rookie deals who can grow in the system. Because they're planning long-term, and that means saving for some monster contract extensions. Names like Reed Blankenship, Jalen Carter. You can't keep everybody, but you can build smart, and that's what Howie Roseman is trying to do. Edge rush questions. They love Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, and they flashed big time last season. But can they keep climbing? We all expect young players to keep getting better, but sometimes they hit a wall. They plateau. That's the challenge. Can they elevate in 2025 and become consistent forces off the edge? Also, can Azeez Ojulari stay healthy? Can Josh Uche return to his 11.5 sack form from a few years ago? These are real questions that will define the Eagles' pass rush. Linebackers and rookies inside linebacker? Another area with question marks. Zach Bond is locked in. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. probably starts week 1. But when does Nakobe Dean come back from injury? And what about Jihad Campbell? Can he find the field and flash the way Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell did last year? Secondary shuffle. The secondary is loaded with talent, but who's going to line up where? Quinyon Mitchell has one outside corner spot locked down, but who's starting opposite him? Who starts next to Reed Blankenship at safety? The answers will make or break the pass defense in 2025. The big one, Jalen Hurts. Let's close with the face of the franchise. Can Jalen Hurts take another leap? Not just as an athlete, but as a pure passer, a decision maker, and a leader of men. We saw it in flashes last year. Remember when people said Hurts couldn't throw? What did he do? He lit up the airwaves in the playoffs and earned that Super Bowl MVP. If he evolves again in 2025, this offense becomes unstoppable. The final prediction. All right, so where do I land? Vegas says 11.5 wins. Pro Football Focus. Under. Me, I'm with them. But just barely. Prediction, 11 wins. Still a playoff team. Still a threat. Just a brutal schedule and a few question marks keep me cautious. Your turn. Let me ask you, Eagles Nation, drop it in the comments. Over or under 11.5 wins? Who's your X factor on defense? Is this Jalen Hurts' MVP year 2.0? And hey, want to celebrate? If you're still riding high from that Super Bowl win, grab your official Eagles championship hat right now. Chatsports.com/SuPH available in kids and adult sizes. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Follow for more, and as always, I'm talking birds every day. X and Instagram @Chase Senior. Final word. This team is young, this team is hungry, and this team is still built to win now. The schedule, brutal. The roster, deep. The goal, repeat. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud. Fly, Eagles, fly.